Hi everybody, this is Joe from WriteWithWarnemont.com, and with this video we're going to walk through where to find your subscribe form and how to get it on your website to start collecting emails. So to start off, go to MailChimp.com, or you can go to login.MailChimp.com. They're both going to go to the same page. But if you go to MailChimp.com, you can go to login and then type in your login information. And now that we have a list created, we can build a form by going to the Design a Form button. So it's just going to be right here in the middle. And if we scroll down, this is going to be the editor where you can set exactly what you want your readers to type in. So by default, it'll bring up the email address, first name, and last name. But the most important part of creating a form is to make it as simple as possible to subscribe. So I would recommend only having the option for people to put in their email address. That way they can type in their email address, they don't have to type in any other information, and then you won't deter them from subscribing in your list when the most important thing in the first place is their email address. And once you start asking for their name or other information, you might actually start turning people away. So what you can do is move your mouse over the first name text so it kind of highlights a yellow color here. Then you can just click where it says first name and then click on this minus sign, which will allow you to delete that field. You also have to type in delete to confirm that you want to remove it, and then just hit delete field. You're going to do the exact same thing for the last name, so you can click on the last name text up here, which will reveal this minus sign, and do the exact same thing. Alright, and then this build it, design it, and translate it options, these are all for designing your subscribe form, changing up the fields. The primary thing we're going to use these for is just to remove the first name and last name. Designing it won't really need to be done simply because you'll do your designing once you get it on your WordPress page. So for simplicity, we can actually skip over design it, translate it, and go straight to share it. And once we get to share it, this is where we'll actually grab our code needed to put it on your website. So you can go to, right over here, you can go to create HTML code for a small subscribe form. And you'll have a few options here. You'll have the super slim form, classic form, and the naked form. You'll want to choose the naked form. This allows for easy embedding on your site, and you can actually do a little bit of customization afterwards. And then if you click options, you also have the option to change up the text that'll show, kind of for your title up here. So you might change it to subscribe to my mailing list as opposed to our mailing list. If you're a writer and you're not an actual organization. And then when we click back on here, it'll change it right at the top. Then you can click create embed code, and what that will do is create a code for you down here that can be copied and pasted into your site. If this intimidates you with all this coding, don't worry, you don't actually have to understand what any of this code means, so don't worry about that. Now in my previous video I talked about using a free WordPress template or possibly using the Genesis framework with one of their templates. I'm going to walk through how to get your subscribe form on both of them. Now to start off, if you are using the Genesis framework with one of their templates, what you'll have to do is log into the back end of your WordPress dashboard. So I'm already logged in, and this is actually just the back end to my WriteWithWarnemont.com site. And then you can go to Appearance on the left hand side, and then Widgets. Once you click on Widgets, this will allow you to put different widgets on the side or at the bottom of your posts. But what we're going to be looking at to start off with is your primary sidebar. So I already have this set up on my site, but I can walk you through how to get it set up for your own site. What you want to do is actually grab, it's called the Genesis eNews Extended widget, and with Genesis it will just be sitting over here, Genesis eNews Extended. So what you can do is actually drag that over and just plop it right in there into the primary sidebar. That will give you a handful of options. I'm just going to remove this and I'll walk you through with what I currently have. But you can start with your title, and for my side I just have create your writing adventure, and then you can also put your text to show. So you want to create text to entice people to enroll in your email campaigns. So for example, I put that you can get a free ebook, and then you can also receive weekly emails as well as blog posts with writing tips and tricks. The next field is going to be the Google/FeedBurner ID. You can actually leave this field blank. This is another platform for sending out blast emails, but since we are using MailChimp, we won't actually need that field, so you can skip over that. And the form action field is actually the most important part of this setup process. This is going to be how you link up MailChimp to your website. So what you can do is go back to your MailChimp dashboard, and this is where it's going to get a little tricky, but it's not too difficult, where MailChimp actually forces you to copy this entire code. Unfortunately, the only thing we want is this form action link right here. If you try to highlight a small piece of this, it'll still highlight everything. So just highlight everything and then copy it. So you can do Control-C, or you can right click and copy. And then what you want to do here is actually bring up a notepad. So just bring up a blank notepad and then paste that copied code into the notepad. And once you have it pasted in here, you'll want one link, and one link only. It's going to be form action. So look for this form action field right here, and all you'll want to copy is the link after that inside the parentheses all the way to the end of the parentheses, and then you can right click and copy that. After that, you're completely done with the notepad here, so you can minimize that or exit out, and then you can go back to your WordPress dashboard and paste that link into the form action. Once you have that in there, that will link up your MailChimp form, so if someone types in their email address, it will actually put it into your list on your MailChimp dashboard. Alright, so once we have that, we have a few other fields here. The email field, that's basically just indicating that you're accepting emails as opposed to first name or last name. So you want to make sure it says email inside that email field. Since we're not accepting the first name or last name field, you can leave those blank. As for the hidden fields, typically you're going to leave this blank. It actually requires a little bit of coding. It's used for customizing your subscribe form a little bit. I won't go into this in this tutorial. However, if you would like to learn how to do this, feel free to shoot me an email and I can walk you through it. Basically what I've done here is I've provided a checkbox option for people to indicate whether or not they want to receive blog updates in addition to the weekly emails and the ebook that I'm giving them. So once again, it's a little bit of customization that I've done in there, but typically you'll just leave that blank so you can just get their email address. The open confirmation page in same window option, you can leave that blank. You'll actually want it to open up in a different window so it doesn't redirect them away from your website. And the first name input text, last name input text, and email input text, That's basically, well, it doesn't really matter about the first name and last name. You can just, it doesn't matter if those are filled in or not. The enter your email input text, that's going to be what shows up in the field right here. So it'll say enter your email, indicating that they should type in their email right there. And once they click on it, it'll just disappear and they can type in their email. After that, there's also a button text, so you can customize that as well. I just have join now, where it'll say join now right on the button. So it's kind of a call to action to get people to type in their email. Alright, after that, all you have to do is hit save, and it will give you this nicely designed email form. Every Genesis template has a different style of form, but all of them are very clean, very professional. Doesn't require any coding to get this nice looking enrollment form for your subscribers. Now, if you are using a good old-fashioned free WordPress template, you still have the ability to get an enrollment form on your site. It just will require a little bit more work, and you won't get the design aspects like we see here with the Genesis template. And many free templates sometimes have difficulty handling subscribe forms, so you might have to actually play around with different templates in order to find the best one. First, what you'll want to do is get logged into the back end of your WordPress dashboard like we did before with the Genesis option. And I'm just going to use an old movie review blog that I did in college. It's not active anymore. But what you can do is then go to Appearance like we did before, and then Widgets. And instead of using the Genesis eNews subscribe, what you want to do is find this text widget and drag it into wherever you want it to show up. So for example, this template has a main sidebar, which I can drag it in there. Every single free template is going to have different options when it comes to widgets. So you can kind of play around with those and see where you actually want to put your subscribe form. But once you have the text in there, or the text option in there, this is where you're going to paste your code. So we can actually jump back to our MailChimp dashboard, and this time it doesn't matter about grabbing just the form action. So we can actually select everything, copy it, and then paste it directly into the text field. Then once you hit save, you should be able to refresh my website, my bare bones website right here, and it'll bring up the subscribe form just to the right. So it's very similar to the Genesis version. It has the same functionality. However, like I said before, it's going to be a little bit more watered down. It won't have the design aspects to it, unless of course you go in there and actually do some coding for yourself and design your own subscribe form. One other thing is that many free templates don't actually allow for this to be at the end of post, which I personally think is one of the best ways to get emails. When someone's actually reading a blog post, they will have the option, if they like your blog post, to then go and subscribe to more content. So I have the like what you see option, and then they can type in their email address. So a lot of free templates don't really have that option. But like I've said, if you are on a budget, the free template with a subscribe form is a viable option. Okay, so that's how you can get a sign-up form on your website to start building that email list. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at writewithwarnemont.com/contact.